A very good evening to each one of you.
Good
On
evening.
behalf of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome you all for this special talk on food and agri-industry insights with a startup perspective. On behalf of the Chamber and on behalf of the Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee, we express our sincere thanks to Mr. PVGK Murthy, who is the Executive Vice President, Food and Agribusiness Strategic Advisory Group of S Bank. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation to address. The committee, Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee, is chaired by Mr. Ankur Bhaumik, who is the CEO of MTR Foods, co-chaired by Mr. Narsimha Nakshatri, who is the Agri and Horti Consultants, Nakshatri Associates, and Mr. Prakash, who is the Technical Director for Center for Holistic Agriculture and Green Enterprise. I welcome all the participants for this exclusive interaction. The BCIC also acknowledges the annual sponsorship of the events from our member organizations, Mrs. Bueller, Fundermax, Wipro, MTR Foods, and Sona Group. And I now request the members to join us for the Karnataka Nadagite.
ಮಕುಟದ ನವಮಣಿಯೇ
ಗಂಧದ ಚಂದದ ಹೊನ್ನಿನ ಗಣಿ
ರಾಘವ ಮಧುಸೂದನರವತರಿಸಿದ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜನನಿಯ ಜೋಗುಳ ವೇಗದ ಘೋಷ ಜನನಿಗೆ ಜೀವವು ನಿನ್ನಾವೇಶ ಹಸುವಿನ ಗಿರಿಗಳ ಸಾಲೆ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಕೊರಳಿನ ಮಾಲೆ ಕಪಿಲ ಪತಂಜಲ ಗೌತಮ ಚಿರನುತ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ರಮನುಜ ವಿದ್ಯಾರಣ್ಯ ಬಸವೇಶ್ವರ ಮಧ್ವರ ದಿವ್ಯಾರಣ್ಯ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಷಡಕ್ಷರಿ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಕಂಬಲ ಕುಡಿಪತಿ ಜನ್ನ ಕುಮಾರ ವ್ಯಾಸರ ಮಂಗಳ ಧಾಮ ಕವಿಗೋಗಿಲೆಗಳ ಪುಣ್ಯ ರಾಮ ನಾನಕ ರಾಮಾನಂದ ಕಬೀರರ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ
creation is going to happen in not only in different areas. It's going to be areas we all know, that financial, fintech, edtech, but I am sure that with the most of the and lot of wealth creation also will happen in agri-tech and also in agriculture. And when in agri-tech and agriculture, a lot of investment is a lot of wealth creation is going to happen. That is where we require a lot of entrepreneurs to come and work in that area. And when we want entrepreneurs to come and work in that area, there are two things that we would require. One is they would require, the people who can support them. Second, they need a lot of fund. But that's only the start point. You can have entrepreneurs coming in, but what is important for entrepreneurs to succeed, to me, is all to have a right ecosystem. And there will be also people working out there where they will not only they would handhold those entrepreneurs to set up and build that agri business, but also somebody would be working to developing that ecosystem so that the success is faster. I think Yes Bank, they also work, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Murthy, they also work in that area, developing the ecosystem with getting those experts working in the area about. It's not about entrepreneur coming in, but we also need to know which are the areas where they would location where they should work. We also need to somebody has to really look into ecosystem development. So I think today, from the startup perspective, handholding is one, but I'm sure that we are also going to hear from Mr. Murthy on how Yes Bank helps in developing ecosystem, building the capacity development, and also identifying revenue potential, and therefore identifying which are the areas probably which would benefit, which would actually have a much larger potential, and develop those areas and then entrepreneurs come in, handhold with entrepreneurs and start developing. So this is a very, I would say this session is going to be a great session because everybody out here, and I know here a lot many entrepreneurs would be here attending, and everyone would be looking forward to hearing from you, Mr. Murthy, and to all the participants out there who are part of this. I would see that's going to be a great takeaway. And if you have any questions, Mr. Murthy is there. You can ask any questions. It's going to be, so let's hope for very engaging session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Mr. Narasimha Nakshatri, Co-Chairman of the Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee, to introduce the speaker. Over to you, sir.
Yes, good afternoon and good evening to everybody, all the participants for this evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Ankurji, for the excellent context setting for the whole webinar. Mr. Murthy, I think I know him personally for the last few years. As a friend, I met him in Hyderabad and I know him personally. Thanks a lot, Mr. Murthy. Again, reconnecting. Yeah, Mr. Murthy is an agriculture graduate from Acharya Ranga University. And during he has done his BSc in agriculture in 91 to 95. Then also he has done his post-graduation in Manage, the prestigious institute in Manage, Institute of Management, Agriculture Management Institute in 2005 to 2007. He worked in for the period 1999 to 98 as a marketing development officer in Madras Fertilizers, and 98 to 2009 he has worked as a manager for agribusiness division in ITC, and then he worked as an ingrained technologist as a director 2009 to 2020, and currently he is an executive vice president at Yes Bank. Yes Bank has gotten a food and agri-business strategic advisory research for FASAR. Okay, this is a group consisting of, I understand there are 20 professionals in this group in Yes Bank. They have formed successfully holistic development of India's food and agribusiness sector by providing comprehensive banking solutions driven by strong knowledge expertise. The Food and Agribusiness Advisory Group, research group of Yes Bank, has emerged as India's premier food and agribusiness knowledge unit with several prestigious advisory and research mandate to its credentials. FASAR has successfully provided cutting-edge advisory services to the domestic industry, MNCs, government and multinationals, and it is also working closely with the government ministries such as food processing, agriculture, commerce and industry, and various state governments and multinationals on several policy initiatives and strategic advisory mandates. Thank you very much, Mr. Murthy, for coming. And it was so nice of you. I think we would like to hear, all of us would like to hear from you how to go ahead with it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for the great introduction. I would be touching upon two aspects today evening. The first aspect is about what S-Bank is doing, what FASAR is doing. That's a brief introduction I would be making first. And then I switch over to the environment in which agri startups are working, what are all the prospects, and what is the kind of way forward for that. So first of all, can I share the screen? I'm just.
If you have any problem, BCIC will share that.
Can you see my screen, sir?
Yes. Okay. Yes, Mr. Murthy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, food and agribusiness strategic advisory and research. Ours is a special, unique vertical in S-Bank. S-Bank is like any other bank. It's a private bank under the governance of SBI now. S-Bank has this unique vertical to handhold and to support our clientele to basically advise them in terms of strategy and also implementation and also from the financial support perspective. So we have been working with various corporates, then small private companies, multinationals, then state and central government departments, then Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, MOFPI, Ministry of Food Processing Industries, then bilaterals, multilaterals. We also work with various embassies. Somebody wants to start one food business in India. They want to understand the food ecosystem or agriculture ecosystem or agribusiness ecosystem. We provide them strategic consulting. So we provide them the entry strategy. We provide them, how to conduct their business. It's a kind of holistic strategic advisory we provide to them. It has been started a good 17 years back. So we have been in this space from almost like 15 years plus active life. Then this particular activity is basically a synergistic activity with our banking business. It is a win-win for the client as well as for the bank. So if you look at the overall activity, there are three areas where we are working. One is strategic advisory, second is project advisory, third is policy advisory. In strategic advisory, we provide information and consulting in the market entry strategy. Then if somebody is coming from abroad, India entry strategy, the diversification strategies, growth and expansion plans for the existing companies who wants to go further in their business, then business evaluation, then partnership opportunities, or somebody wants to acquire a new firm, merger and acquisition, those kind of facilitations will also be done from our side. Then on the project advisory side, we have expertise to conduct feasibility analysis, then detailed project reports we develop for various food and agri business. Then infrastructure planning, we have done it for various mega food parks and various food processing centers. Then bank appraisal notes, because we are pretty much part of the bank. Then financial closure facilitation. So these are all the project advisory based activities from FASAR. Then the policy advisory, we work very closely with state and central government departments. We also do a lot of work with them. Currently, we are working on a couple of assignments in Northeast related to the crop planning and how to use the land and land use analysis. That kind of report we are making. So sectoral growth and development planning, basically this is the sector related studies we are doing, policy research. then program design planning part, then we are also into impact evaluation, then public-private partnership, their functionalities and structuring and all those stuff. So basically ours is a good 20-member team. These people, we are all from various streams of agriculture and the broad umbrella of agriculture and the allied sciences. Somebody is from agricultural sciences, somebody is from fisheries, somebody is from poultry sector, somebody is from dairy. So everybody coming together, this becomes a holistic agri sector specialization kind of functionality. We are all like graduates and postgraduates in agri sciences, and then PG and MBA, and worked in multinationals for a good number of years, and we have joined this knowledge core. So let me reflect on how we organize the service. When it comes to opportunity to serve the opportunity to serve our clientele. First of all, when it comes to strategic advisory, like scanning of potential opportunities for a specific location, somebody wants to start a food processing unit, or somebody wants to start a mega food park. Somebody wants to start any activity related with food. Somebody wants to expand the capacity. Somebody wants to diversify into an advanced product. Somebody wants to diversify into multiple products. So the next stage is like situational analysis, then assessment of capacity utilization. Then if there is any scope to integrate the existing activity of the client with Ministry of Food Processing Industries schemes, that we are facilitating very, very effectively. In the end of the day, this client should get the kind of hand-holding and support which is due for him or her from the government side. So that is where our facilitation comes. We have been working with various clientele across India, north and south. I am heading South Indian operations. I have my counterparts in West. Prasad is there in West, and we have Anshul in North, and he's taking care of North and East. So the business is headed by Mr. Sanjay Upiluri. He is operating from Gurgaon office. Okay. Then we are into DPR preparation. Then we are all facilitating with various schemes of MOFP with our clientele. So we have good rapport with MOFP. We understand their scheme. Sometimes we are also advising MOFP also. It is like operating in both the fronts. Yeah. So these are the various consultancy mandates we have worked previously, like in setting up of we have done some advisory in terms of terminal markets, mega food parks, agri marketing infrastructure, warehousing, cold chain operations, then agri imports, farm equipment, commodities, plantations and farming operations, dairy, milk processing, then food processing operations. So it covers the total poultry, agri, shrimps, aqua, then any other thing that has been included under the umbrella of agriculture and food business. We are also operating in terms of biotechnology related products, then rural retailing, and then technology transfer related things, sales, distribution and marketing strategies. Apart from this, this is our food and agribusiness strategic advisory. We are also facilitating the transaction banking. S-Bank is the front runner in terms of organizing transaction banking. Recently, we have come out with one product called Agri Infinity. I'll be touching upon that point a bit later. So I just want to showcase the kind of clientele we have dealt with till now. In fruits and vegetables, the first box, the top box, we have good number of clientele. And then dairy sector, we have our clientele who are all number 1, 2, 3 in the dairy sector as well. Then spices, we have worked with various spices companies. Then meat and poultry, these are all various players in meat and poultry. Yeah, some more clientele. We are also working with Organic India, and then we are also into food processing, like or chocolates and confectionery, cafe, coffee. All these entities are our clientele, and we have our good presence in South India when it comes to aqua business. Yeah. We also work with bilaterals and multilaterals at international level. We keep on developing and releasing various knowledge reports. We closely work with CII and other institutions. Like recently we expressed our interest with Mr. Narasimha Nakshatri, to work with your institution also. We'll be glad to take it forward in terms of working in the knowledge area. We develop knowledge reports. We release it. It is available for the public consumption. Almost like we release 1 or 2 knowledge reports every quarter across various sectors of food and agri. You can just have a look at it. We touch upon all the agri input, agri output, then agri facilitation, all the sectors. Yeah. We are also into, I just want to showcase the way we are facilitating the schemes. When MOFPI releases any kind of scheme for the entrepreneur, if there is a fitment for the entrepreneur, we will facilitate that kind of opportunity to the entrepreneur to avail the MOFPI scheme or MOFPI scheme grant. Thank you. I'll just touch upon one more product from S Bank, that is Agri Infinity. I'll just share that one with you. Sir, could you kindly ask somebody to share the Agri Infinity brochure?
Rupa, please.
Yes, sir. Just
Yeah,
give us a
please.
few seconds, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, Mr. Murthy. I think very interesting. And
Agri Infinity. Yeah, this is our brochure. You can close it. We have done with that. Yeah, kindly go down. See, recently we have come up with one program called Agri Infinity. Agri Infinity is basically a hand-holding program for the budding entrepreneurs or startups who are working in the space of ag tech, particularly ag fintech. Okay, we are basically, we are leveraging our strength of being a banker, and we are also leveraging our strength of being the front runner in terms of facilitating the digital technologies to the clientele. So basically, whoever is there, any startup in the fintech area, we are kind of, hand-holding them. It is a kind of, you may call it accelerating program, or, both the early stage and late stage startups can join this program, even though, I'm just touching upon the last date was over. Thanks a lot, Mr. Narasimha Nakshatri. Courtesy, Mr. Narasimha Nakshatri, we could reach out to various people through BCIC also. And I hope a lot of people applied for this program. Very senior people, like the vertical managers, like the ELC chief and all the chiefs of respective verticals, they are coming here, and they will be taking up the roles of mentors here. Somebody has some kind of fintech product working in the space of agri fintech as a agri startup. They would like to give them the advisory. If somebody has already applied and there is 1, 2, 3 problems in that, they would let you know what are all the things, 1, 2, 3 things you should do, and you should reapply, then ground it. Then it is a kind of revisiting your fundamentals and make things happen at the field level. It is not only a conceptual thing, they also give some kind of hand holding for you people to make things happen and to have a seamless, financial transactions through whatever fintech apparatus or fintech what you call mechanism you have from your own institution. This is one very educative and very supporting mentorship program from S-Bank, which has been launched very recently. This would go for a good 6 to 9 months, and I appreciate your participation, and I'm 100% sure that all the people are going to reap the benefit out of this program. Okay, yeah, thank you, Ms. Rupa, for sharing this. I'll just now I'll just shift to the agri startup and ecosystem, and how this total ecosystem is working. I'll just share my general thoughts. If you have anything in specific, kindly feel free to ask me. You may stop me while giving the lecture, or you may park your doubts. So basically, any innovation in agribusiness or any business for that matter, it basically has 2-3 components, like whether it is offering a time compression as an utility, or it is offering you the low cost, or it is like increasing the value generation, or it is like providing a great operational convenience. So any of these characteristics your product or service should be having in order to make a great impact in the market. So as you know it well, every startup is coming with a new idea which has strength. Here, you know it well, capital is not the strength. Capital is there with the established company. But why people are eyeing on startups, it is the power of the idea, right? So your idea is bringing that kind of time compression or value addition, or a great operational convenience, or a serious cost reduction. Any of these things, or 1 or 2 things, or putting all the things in a single product or service is very difficult. I understand. At least these are the most required items from your product or service. Okay, so basically any company would be operating in terms of 3 platforms. Any startup company or any. One is the buying platform, where you have the existing businesses. Second is a working platform, where you start working on the confirmed orders. Then third is the marketing platform, where you are sending proposals or where you are hunting for orders. Right? So these are the 3 platforms in which you are working. The more you work on the working and marketing, the more you work on buying and working platforms, you slowly cease to exist as a startup, and you slowly mature. You become a mature company slowly and slowly. When you have a lot of work in the marketing assignment, there is a big scope for you to grow as a startup. It is a very generic statement I am making. So some startups are doing very well, some startups are not doing very well. So if you look into what is the reason or probability of success, why somebody is failing, why somebody is succeeding. So the overall probability of success is equal to the probability of technical completion of the product, the technical competency of the product, into the probability of commercialization of that sound technical product, into probability of economic success in the given commercialization. So the product should have 3 components. One is technically it should be sound, and it should be converted into commercial use, and scaling up of the commercial use through reaching to multiple customers, right? So if you have all the 3 components, then there is a good chance for success. If your product or service is lacking any of these 3 components, there that is the area of improvement for us. We have to look into that. Then if you look at any business process, it can be a startup or it can be any other business. The first thing is the concept creation, concept development. Then based on the concept, you develop the market. then you expand the market, then basically what you call you harvest the benefit of the your hard work. So basically, when you are a startup, if you are a very early stage startup, the concept creation is done. Basically, you are developing the concept and you are developing the product. You are there. So the moment you come out with the EVP and you are in the market, then 1, 2, 3 trials, then hit trial and error. So this is a kind of a process through which all of us are kind of evolving. Okay, so the business framework gives you, there is a marketing opportunity which basically goes with the technology and also the embedded risk management, in the sense that every technology that comes is coming with an advantage as well as the risk of obsolescence. So when you are marketing, basically you are coming with a new technology which is going to serve to the particular target clientele for a particular period. It has an expiry date. Like when people say expiry, people also say it is not only medicine, knowledge is also having kind of expiry date. So we have to keep on updating things. So and so is the product and service. So if you look at the startup environment, a lot of people come out with products which are having demand, and a lot of people already in this space, people think that okay, let me create some product, it will be having a market. It is like people are betting on Say's law. Say's law says that basically supply creates its own demand. That's I don't know how far that would be true in the practical sense. I'm neither denying nor accepting that. There are certain sorry, there are certain contexts where the Say's law comes out to be true, and there are certain contexts where Say's law is not very what I call acceptable. Okay, so when it comes to agricultural products, how we can enhance the marketability? So I understand that you must, a set of people must be working on agri output. Some of you must be working on agri input. Some of you must be working as farming as service, FAS, and all those areas. So basically, how do you enhance the end value of the agricultural commodity? End of the day, if farmer is selling his agri produce, he is selling it as a commodity. And commodity is ruled by the normal, what you call the perfect market situations. The product being uniform, the price is uniform. A grade is A grade in XYZ market, north, south, or western part of India. Even though there are some regional fluctuations, the commodity pricing, even though it has a range of fluctuation, more or less it remains same. So can you gain much when it is commoditized, or can you gain much when it is branded? This is the call. So branding is basically one thing which is adding a lot of value, and then value addition is one. Certification of the agricultural products is one. Then getting into niche products like organic or IPM products is one. Then packaging and storage in a scientific way, that is also one. So these are the various issues or various areas where you can really add value to your business. Okay, so how do you make your startup very, very exciting and a successful entity in the market? Basically, any startup should engage in customer knowledge management. You need to educate your customer about your product, right? Unless he or she is educated, they may not appreciate the merit in your product. That is point number one. We may fail in terms of marketing if we cannot do this particular exercise. Then living the brand. You are the brand ambassador for your own product or service. You live the brand. Then some people do communicate in a very, very elaborate way. Some people keep their communication very precise. But end of the day, how you are optimizing your communication to your target client. That is one thing which basically helps us in the marketing. Then optimizing the marketing effort, not too much, not too low. These are the things. Okay. So then A few more theoretical things before I get into some practical context. Basically, let us understand the 2-3 basic parameters being a startup companies. What is the market demand for our existing product or service? What is the total market demand? Where do we stand? How much of that we can capture? By doing XYZ 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, what is the total possible market share we are going to capture? Right? These are the lookouts. Then you have, you know it well, product life cycle concept. So being at the very starting stage, we should concentrate more on penetration than establishing the market share and all those aspects. So these are some of the broad first principles when we get into startup business. So if you look into today's scenario, a lot of startups are there in the facilitation area where farming as service. Somebody is coming out with app-based tractor service. Somebody is coming out with app-based spraying service. Somebody is there with drones. Somebody is there with agri input supply. Somebody is there with fintech. Somebody is giving farm loans, right? And let us understand, all these people are not really successful when it comes to practicality, because let us understand the game of agriculture. If you are looking into the agriculture per se, agriculture has to do with seasons. We are dealing with a sector which is completely dependent on the seasonality. The products are bulky in nature. If you compare agri product, a metric ton of wheat versus few grams of gold, two of them might be of same value, right? A 10 grams of gold would cost me somewhere around 50,000 approximately. With 50,000, I can buy some number of kgs of wheat, which is very bulky. I have to handle it, I have to transport it, I have to store it, and it has a perishability element, right? So we are dealing with certain commodities which are perishable, which are bulky, which are very difficult to handle, which come with an expiry date, which come with a quality rider, which come with a distance factor. Aggregation is difficult, right? Then what is that we are talking about? We are talking about one particular sector where the demand is perennial and continuous. In food sector, the demand is continuous. Every human being eats 3 square meals a day. In between, you have coffee, tea, beverage, cool drink, blah blah blah. Everything is an agricultural product. Tea, coffee is an agricultural product. The fashion is an agricultural product. So everything under umbrella of food and fashion is agriculture. Your entertainment is agriculture. Your cigarette is agriculture. Your alcohol is agriculture. So my point here is that your point should be that this is a sector which has a continuous demand. There is continuous demand till the time human race is there on this earth. But we should know the art of creating and selling our products, right? So in today's context, you might be knowing the kind of supporting systems. Either it can be the RKVY scheme of central government or any other scheme, like RKVY has 2 kinds of schemes. You might be knowing this 5 lakh scheme for idea validation and 25 lakh scheme for the companies which have the EVP ready and marketable product ready with them. So this is one, and there are several other angel investors out there, and the I really envy you people, because when I was young, this kind of opportunity was not there. So a lot of angel investors are there, private investors are there, and banks like Yes Bank, we have a special thirst for startups. We are basically looking for good startups to work with. We are not only going to mentor them, we are also ready to onboard them as clientele. Even after onboarding them as clientele, we are ready to provide the support in terms of strategic support, also the implementation support. So these are the various points I want to bring to your notice. And let me see how much time we have. 4 more minutes, right, sir? So when we look into today's context, I really get in touch with a lot of startups. Let us understand few points here. I see a great possibility for startups when they want to consolidate their position in one region. If somebody is operating in Karnataka, let them operate and consolidate their position in a cluster of villages first. Most of the times what happens is like every business person is an ambitious person. So people want to spread thin. They want to make their presence felt in many geographies, which makes our operations very difficult when it comes to agri startups. And most of the people, they end up spending a lot of money. Their efficiency levels will come down because geographic spread basically reduces our operational efficiency. So my idea would be that, you people approach a cluster, 10 villages, 20 villages, 25 villages, or block or a district. That's it. Prove your ability there. Establish your ability there. It can be farming as service. It can be drone-based spraying, or it can be anything under that FAS, or it can be any fintech. Agriculture is regional. Kindly understand this. Agriculture, you know that agriculture is a state subject, and also agriculture is regional. It's regional not only in terms of production, it's regional also in terms of economic operations. Because I cannot produce X crop in Karnataka. For example, I today, if you look at the speciality of Karnataka, Karnataka has a good range of crops. Right from tobacco to your ragi, millets and all, and you have a wine board also. Ramnagara is emerging as a wine production center. So you have diversity of crops. Karnataka is one of the leading producers of pepper and other spices, right? So keeping this thing in mind, I look at Karnataka as a potential agribusiness hub, not only for the mature players, but also for the startups. Let us first, consolidate our position technically as well as economically. Then we can lead it. Then we can take it to the next step to the other states. So that is how I see the growth of startup. And from S-Bank side, yes, we are there to support you people. Kindly stay in touch with us. I'll forward my contact number also on email. Feel free to call us and feel free to join us for a discussion or advisory session or whatever. We'll be glad to interact with you and support you people. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, Mr. Prakash.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Murthy, and thank you very much for the excellent session. It was, like a mentoring session as well as a management session for startups. That's the way I look at it. Very nice, actually. I mean, definitely it will be helpful for the startups. BCIC is going to take up startup as one of our main activity. So I'm sure what you're doing will definitely help.
Great, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. More than summing up, what the takeaway for me is, I think when I was associated with some of the Yes Bank activities about 15 years back, from Center for Technology Development, whenever we were talking about any funding for agri projects at that stage, the natural name was go to Yes Bank. That's the agri bank. That was the kind of thing that was going around. And that was the status of Yes Bank then. Glad that it is coming back now with more structured way and all that. You have FASAR and then the advisory services. I'm sure this will definitely help actually.
Yes.
Some of the good things that I could gather is you are not just a banker, but you are more a hand-holding agency plus also providing several other advisory services. I think which is very important and essential. Not just funding. This becomes very important. That is something which the industry should take note of. That is something. And then I think you talked about the startup itself, the way a startup grows, and then various success factors, the problem areas of startups, all this. I think they're all good for anybody, any startup to take note of and then look future for their own benefits. I'm sure BCIC will definitely come back to you, and then we would like to work with you, because we are also, we have invited proposals, and we have something like about 60 to 70 proposals which have to be evaluated. We are starting that process now, and I think we will get in touch with you. I think Mr. Ankur, I'm just hinting him that we'll be there. Yeah. And these are the points that I could gather. One is what Yes Bank is doing. I think it is different from many other banks, especially the advisory services and then the hand-holding services. I look at it, these are a little different from the conventional commercial banks. That is where I think the industries and especially startups should take note of. And since Yes Bank has special focus on startup, I think startup should go to Yes Bank. That's my take from this. I think there was one question from Mr. Dattaraj, where he said that Yes Bank was one of the lead banks in the food park project. Can you just share your experience about that particular food park? That's the question.
I was not in that project actually, but my request to him is kindly ask him to, I can forward my number. Kindly ask him to get in touch with me at personal level. I can tell him the details. Should be a problem.
Sure. I think we will do that. Yeah. Any other questions? There is some feedback saying that there's a wonderful session. Good to note that.
Yeah, I think there's someone has.
Somebody, Vivek wants to. Vivek.
Their support from Yes Bank on agri machinery startups. I think they will be there.
Yeah, see, basically we see whether it is a machinery or whether it is any other business. Basically, we look at the viability part of the business as a banker. See, everywhere, kindly understand that the banking perspective comes in, because that is good for both you and us also. So as a company, how you are going to perform, how you are going to spin profits, that is the core focus. So we'll deal with machinery, we'll deal with output, input, any kind of business, as long as it comes under the broad umbrella of agribusiness. So most welcome.
Mr. Vivek wants to say something. Prakash.
Vivek is in?
Yeah, I think he has raised his hand. Ms. Raji, Vivek.
Raji, you can go ahead with your question.
And then Vivek, please. First Vivek
yeah.
raised, yeah.
Sir, I am from a company called Nelback, and we started in 2018. Now, we manufacture controllers. Though controllers are not new to the market, they are the limitations, everything is taken care. Why still automation is not there everywhere in the farmers we studied, and this is what we are targeting to, sir. And we are the very early stage. We are in Bangalore, and we are the early stage revenue making now. And not a continuous still, because to reach the farmers, we should be very strong team, because their ROA is dependent on their output from the farm, right? So we are targeting to other segments to generate revenue for our own company. So home gardens and landscaping, and these are the ones we are targeting. So because the revenue is not a continuous and consistent, can we approach bank for loan or something? We don't know that, every month or something we should pay the interest and all that, right? So kindly advise us.
Ma'am, it is like this. See, for a bank, every business would be viewed in the same perspective, that is the profitability and revenue churning perspective. So as long as your company is a net profit making company, so that would be fine. And second thing is, bank will look for a collateral. So these are the, I'm not a what you call person in the bank who is dealing with cash, but these are the two parameters any bank will look into. Okay, so if you can give us more details about your business, what is the nature of the business, what is the volume and value of the business, what is the revenue churn and what is the kind of coverage. Then any typical banker will have a few questions from their side, and that can be processed, or that may not also be get processed if they find if it is a risky business. But if you reach us as a agribusiness advisor, I can tell you what are all the, if a banker says that these are all 1, 2, 3 risks, as an advisor, I can tell you, how to mitigate those risks as a functional person. Maybe in next attempt, you can, address that and come back to our bank or any other bank. That is the advantage with us.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And why we are thinking about the bank is because as an early stage to go for any funding or equity dilution, we thought it is better to go with the bank, and that is the reason.
Yeah, see, bank, for that matter, madam, keeping it very, very open, every bank is same. It is S Bank or SBI or any other bank, it's the same. Like, our business should be bankable. As a first person, my intervention would be, I can tell you how to make your agri business or agri startup bankable.
Bankable, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Vivek.
Vivek?
Yes, Mr. Murthy, I think Vivek from Ken Agri Tech. I think our
sir.
worked
How are
with each
you?
other for a long time.
Nice, nice.
I'm good.
meeting
I'm
you.
good.
Uh-huh.
So good to listen to you in this presentation.
My-
I just wanted to know, with your hand holding and intervention, if you
Yeah.
can quote some success stories,
Yeah.
during course of time, if a small format or a mid-size or a very small startups, and without giving real, inside confidential information. I mean,
Yeah.
how successful this initiative of yours, couple of examples if you can quote would be nice.
Sir, Agri Infinity has been started just now.
Hmm.
So we have success, some startups in our, we have onboarded them. Probably next meet or so, I can tell you who are all those people and how it is going.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Murthy, the other question that I see is, has there been a study done by Yes Bank on, products made in India and products made in China? That is one part. Second part is, can Yes Bank support certification of food products? That's a question that has come, apart from just financing.
Sir, supporting food certification, actually, we can do that. It's only a facilitation work. But, the point is that what kind of certification they are looking for. We can organize anything. That shouldn't be a problem technically.
I think 1-to-1 they can connect with you, Mr. Murthy.
Yeah.
I think, Mr. Prakash, there is also one question from Mr. Bharat, which he's talking about. Will there be any support from Yes Bank for any agri-machinery startups?
Yeah,
I think he answered that actually.
You answered that. So
He
sorry.
answered that. He answered that. Yeah. So any aspect, what he said is any aspect of the food supply chain which is in a bankable form, yes, they are there to consider.
Yes.
That was it.
Yes.
And there is also one more question from Mr. Bharat. Again, we talked about that, Mr. Prakash, this
Certification.
bridging gap between made in India
Yeah.
products and products.
Yeah. Actually, we have not done any study India versus China. That would be a very broad this thing. If you can kindly see, that can be taken up as an individual assignment with the particular company. If they can tell us, what is the kind of range of products they are looking for comparison's sake, we can readily do that.
Everybody is asking for your number, Mr. Murthy.
Number, yeah. Most of them. Yeah.
I'll tell you, sir.
You are so much in demand.
98663 46025 Murthy.
And email?
It is pvgk.murthy@yesbank.in. I'll repeat, pvgk.murthy@yesbank.in.
Yeah, I think, yeah, no more questions actually. I think Rupa has also shared the number on the chat box. That is okay. Mr. Murthy's number. I think we will come back to you after our screening starts. Then we can see how BCIC and the Yes Bank could probably work together. That we will come back later.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Great. So thank you so much, Mr. Ankur, Mr. Narasimha Nakshatri, Mr. Prakash, and Ms. Rupa, and all the participants. Very nice interacting with you. Thanks for your time. All the best.
1 minute. Over to Ms. Rupa, please. I think Thanksgiving, and then we'll
Yes, sir.
have the.
Thank you very much, sir.
national anthem.
Thank you very much, sir. Once again, we would like to present a small thank you video as a token of our appreciation. Please do stay with us, sir. That will be followed by the national anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you once again, Mr. Murthy.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ankur, for setting the context. It was very nice. Thank you, Nakshatri. Thanks, BCIC Secretariat, and of course, not to forget is all the participants who were in the webinar. Many of them have also asked for this recorded. Some of them, at least I have several requests asking for recorded. I think we can send it to them later because this is very, topical and interest the startups. We could also share this with our own list, all the list of 66 startups actually. People who may not be able to have attended could also make use of this. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you all. Very, very nice interacting with you. Thank you so much.
1 minute. We'll have a national anthem and then we'll close, please.
Yeah.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind.
Thank you all for participating at this session. Thank you once again.
Thank you. I'll take leave, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Murthy ji. Thank you, Ankur ji. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, all the participants. Thank you, Rupa. Thank you.